People of the internet, welcome back to another video. It is I, Don Thomas, back again. Thank you, of course, for tuning in. And without further ado, let's dive into today's topic. People, ladies and gentlemen, how many more warnings do we need? I was hesitant at first to even cover this story because it's like, all right, we've been hearing the warnings, right? We heard in the previous video, of course, we spoke about the 6-month pause that was proposed by prominent tech leaders in the certain space who proposed a letter in which they requested a 6-month pause. We saw where that got us. It got us nowhere. I don't even know the verdict of what even happened with that as well, too. So it's not like these are, little happenings here and there. More and more prominent people within the tech space are coming forth and letting people know, hey, man, the things that we're cooking up here on the side could be a potential threat to how we live our day-to-day lives. So we've been hearing this warning, and I was like, here's another guy who steps forth now in a prominent space saying the same exact thing. Thought to myself, I don't want to cover this, but I was like, you know what? I am going to cover this because even if you already know this information, there's somebody out there who doesn't, right? It's just like in school when they used to say, like the teacher used to say, the kid that used to have the answers is like, all right, we know you know it. Let's give this guy a chance. Like there's somebody out there that is not well-versed in the realm of, and I'm not saying I'm well-versed in this realm of AI technology, but it piques my interest. I know a little bit of, a little thing here and there, whatever the case is, and I'm always willing to learn more. There's somebody out there that has no idea, that doesn't come from that background, has no idea of what AI is, what it stands for, the dangers of it, what's present, what's coming, what's happening. I'm speaking to that person, right? So, if you're not aware, a gentleman by the name of Jeffrey Hinton, of course, who actually has earned the name of the Godfather of AI, right? So I believe this guy knows what he's talking about, right? I would assume. Looks like he's received his PhD in artificial intelligence over 45 years ago. And of course, it says here, I'm reading from CNBC, he's one of the most respected voices in the field, right? So this guy, he knows what he's talking about, right? He has now said, is another prominent voice who has now voiced his concerns on the potential risks of AI technology, right? My thing is this. So you can say, oh man, all right, I know this, or maybe you don't know what the case is. My thing is, it's like, all right, it's one thing to announce, hey man, the dangers, It's like, all right, cool. But then what are the results? What are we doing now that we know these are the dangers? It's like, that's the thing I want to get past, like, hey man, it's dangerous. We know that already, I think, right? And to the person that maybe doesn't, right, I'll speak to the audience right there. I think there's people that have now been understanding that. I think I would want to believe that there's a general consensus of people who believe that, hey man, just the surface level stuff, even if you don't dive too deep, something's up, things are different, right? Technology, I don't think, depending on your access to information, there's people that may know that, the potential dangers, all these hackings, and of course, I think another data breach. I think I saw another data breach within T-Mobile the other day as well too. So again, the point I'm trying to bring forth is, okay, for the most part, I think everybody knows that dangers exist, but I'm not seeing the solutions. I thought it was a cute gesture to say, let's stop for 6 months, but I don't think that was going to pause anything, and I don't even know what the verdict of that was. Did we ever stop? Are they going to stop? I don't think they're going to stop. I think it was just a cute, hey man, we're trying. I think all these little warnings, to be completely honest, I think they're just a way, they're the fine print. Like when you get a new phone or like anything that you sign up for in the terms of services, the fine print that nobody reads, I think this is what these little attempts are. Just so they can say, hey man, we told them. It was on them if they wanted to listen or not. It was on them to take it either as serious or not as serious at all, but at least we told them. I'd look at all these attempts. Yeah, they're necessary, and I would encourage people to keep stepping up, people who have a platform and of course are well versed in these, the areas of technology as well too. Keep doing it, man. Yeah, I'm not saying he shouldn't, but I want to hear solutions now, bro. Like, what's the next step? Okay, it's dangerous. Are we going to stop? Are we going to incorporate more ethical practices at the forefront of what we're doing? Or are we just going to keep going and see what happens? I think right now we're just going and going to see what happens. And again, I hate to chalk things up to the movies all the time, people, but sometimes you got to take some things away from the movies. The movies is like, all right. And maybe some people think that it's like, oh, we've seen this in a movie, but all right, cool. Are we chalking it up and dismissing it because we've seen it in a movie? Or are we going to take heed to the things that have happened in the movie and like, all right, cool. Maybe we should act on this. I think we need to do a better job of being proactive as opposed to reactive, right? Preventative maintenance as opposed to post-maintenance, right? It's like you want to be able, it's just like knowing a storm is coming and they tell you, hey man, flee the city, board up your windows, this, that, and the other. It's almost the same thing. It's like, are we gonna try to weather the storm? We're gonna stay. We're not going anywhere. Are we gonna be the stubborn old folks who've been warned that, hey man, a tornado's gonna come and rip through your entire neighborhood and flooding's gonna occur? You want to get out of here? Are you gonna take heed to that information, or are you gonna say, nah, well, I've been here? It's just like, we gotta educate ourselves, man. We can't just chalk things up all the time to we'll see what happens, bro. That's not gonna get us anywhere. We don't want to see what happens. We want to be preventative and not find ourselves in another pandemic situation, because we saw how that went. People, man, the threats are real, man. I think we need to take heed to a lot of things that these people are saying. I don't want to take these things lightly. I'm the guy in the movie. It's just like, again, I'm not trying to be the grandpa here, folks. Like, I'm just the guy in the movie, just like, hey, I don't have all the answers, but it's the guy like, hey, man, everybody's like, oh, la, 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 whatever the case is. I'm just the guy that's saying, hey, I'm not necessarily screaming the sky is falling. I kind of am, but I'm just more so saying, hey, guys, we want to collectively as a unit kind of dive into this a little bit more. Like, do we want to come to a general consensus of what we're going to do in the event that this goes left? Or are we all just going to act as if it's not here and keep going about our daily lives? Now, again, I said, I know there's people that are probably know exactly what I'm talking about, are well-versed and understand what they're doing. Then it's your role. If you feel like you're somebody that's knowledgeable as terms of the dangers of what's happening, if you work in a tech space or not, or you have peers, whatever the case is, educate the people who are not. Bring these conversations up at your dinner table. What do you talk about with your family when you eat dinner at night? Assuming you still eat dinner with your family, right? Because I think they said the common household right now is like everybody man for themselves. They eat for themselves. Everybody has a phone in their hand. At your dinner table, or when you're lounging with your family or your loved ones or your spouse or your companions, whoever you share a roof with, if anyone, what do you talk about? Do you start sprinkling these things in your conversation, bro? Like, you can talk about whatever you talk about, cool. You can have leisure talk. Every talk doesn't have to be serious and to the point of, hey, whatever the case is, and downing. Because, of course, these kind of conversations are a little bit depressing, but they're necessary, bro. Like, sprinkle this in your group chat. Sprinkle this in your conversations. Hey, man, what do you think about this? Are you aware? Hey, man, what do you? Start thinking so at least the gears can start turning. You don't want this to hit the fan now, and then what do we do? Come on, bro. I don't know. I think... Again, I think this is all very interesting to me. I think it's very prevalent. I'm not going to sit here and, again, do things in moderation. I'm not sitting here like doom scrolling and like reading headline after headline. Nah, I'm more knowledgeable to know like, all right, man, take everything with a grain of salt, apply the information that you've now learned and move accordingly. That's all I'm saying. Let's move accordingly. Let's all collectively move accordingly with the information that has been presented to us. It's like, we just got to do a better job of getting all on the same page. I don't think as a collective unit, as a human species, some of us are taking things a little bit too lax. And I want to see a little bit more urgency in us as a collective, like where the robots is, who hasn't said it at this point? Little speculators like me have been saying it. Prominent people in the realm have been saying it. The robots themselves are telling you, hey, we could... What, didn't they ask somebody? I probably posted on the screen here as well too. Somebody asked ChatGPT, hey man, if you were to go ahead and destroy civilization, how would you go about doing it? He listed out, the robot responded with a well-executed plan of how it would go about executing all of human civilization. And it just ruffled some headlines and kept it moving. It's like, are we just sweeping that under the rug? Are we taking that seriously? Like, it's telling us. It's told us, and now some people would argue, oh, that's all phooey. It's like, there's a people in the movie that's like, oh, that's phooey. Oh, that's nonsense talk, man. Don't worry about that, man. Like, here, continue, whatever. It's just like, nah, bro. Like, I'm at the point right now, I don't think we can take anything lightly. I think I take everything, like, into consideration. I don't think anything's off the table right now, bro. I'm telling you, bro, I don't think anything is off the table. I'm not saying I'm taking everything at face value as well, too, and just being naive on every single headline, but these are the facts. It's not like this is made up. This is a fact. The man came out and said, hey, man, this is a concern. Other people have come out and said, hey, man, this is a concern. What are we doing now that we know that this is a concern? What are we doing to combat or at least keep at bay the potential dangers of this AI technology? Questions, comments, concerns, folks, leave them down in the comment section. As always, greatly appreciated. I'll catch you on the next one.